Hey everyone, welcome again to Renutrition Reveals. I'm Dr. Alexis Sams, holistic physical therapist, functional medicine pro, and food pain expert. This is the last of this little mini series I've been doing to help you guys get to know the liver a little bit better in the ways that I've grown to know and love it over the last few months. It's really been a game changer for a lot of my clients, being able to do deeper dives into understanding how the liver works and particularly recognizing the signs and symptoms of when the liver needs some support, when it's struggling in certain ways. So before I get started with going over the symptoms that I have for you guys, which I think are really gonna just blow your minds. Two things. The last two episodes, go back and look at the first one if you want a good overview of like the general functions of the liver and how it works. And then the most recent episode covered some major signs of liver dysfunction or signs that can point to liver dysfunction. Signs meaning things that we see but don't necessarily like feel or experience in our bodies. And most of them had to do with readings from lab results like blood work readings and stuff like that. So if you didn't catch those, go back and take a quick listen. But today I'm going to cover some major symptoms that usually fly under the radar that people don't often realize are connected to liver function or a liver function issue, but they're super common symptoms. So what that means is it can be a missed opportunity and a really good opportunity to look into liver functions if you or someone you know is experiencing one or more of these symptoms as a avenue for symptom relief, a solution to any associated conditions, and yeah, just better opportunities to help you feel better all day, every day. So let's just get into it. Symptoms, like I mentioned just briefly, symptoms are the things that are experienced and felt in the body. You feel them, you see them, you experience them through your senses, versus again, the signs are things that you might not necessarily feel or experience, but you do see them. Like they will pop up on a test, they will pop up on a reading, stuff like that. So symptom number one, I'm gonna jump right in because this is like the big one. It's my favorite one to talk about. It's something that I've seen so many clients struggle with on a day-to-day, almost constant basis with like no relief. And now that we are focusing on the liver's function and how the liver interacts with this particular symptom, like I said, it's been a game changer. And this first symptom that I'm going to cover are headaches and migraines. Like, I can't see you, but like raise your hand if you know somebody who struggles with headaches and migraines on a daily basis. Like, yeah, everybody. Yeah, I see you raising your hand. Yeah, it's so common. So many people, and you know what? For all of you guys who like love information, I should have gotten a stat on it. But like in a general sense, we all probably know that struggling and experiencing headaches and migraines is like pretty prevalent across the board for just lots of people, lots of the general population. So why, how does it link to liver function? One, it's a plumbing backup, if you want to think about it like that. One of the liver's functions, and the one that we are all mostly familiar with, is the responsibility of detoxifying the body of wastes and making sure that those wastes are adequately eliminated. So if that's the job of the liver, and the liver's not able to do that for whatever reason, that toxicity, that waste in a toxic capacity, meaning, you know, for lack of a better word, like a poisonous capacity, you know, it's not good material that's supposed to be in our body. And then in a volume capacity, in the amount of fluid that is being retained to hold that waste because it's not being eliminated. So from a toxic and from a volume capacity, it builds up and it backs up when the liver cannot detoxify and eliminate adequately. And where does it build up and back up? Literally the plumbing scenario. So if you're not 100% sure where your liver is, it's basically kind of like right in the middle of your chest, under your rib cage. The majority of your liver is on your right side, but there's also a part of it that goes onto the left side of your body. So again, middle of your chest, just kind of below the pectoral line, underneath your rib cage. So if we really focus on the right side, because that's where the majority of the liver is, that backup just literally, it backs up. It backs up to your fluid flow vessels, which are called your lymphatic vessels, and it can cause them to swell because of the excess volume of waste that can't be eliminated. And then that fluid backup is also, again, of that kind of toxic material, that toxic fluid. So the toxicity can cause irritation, inflammation, and breakdown, and then just the volume can cause vessels to dilate and increase pressure in certain areas, backing up. So backing up into the chest, backing up into the neck, wrapping and backing up into the head. So our head lymphatic vessels, again, can become toxified or can become dilated with that excess fluid. And that can be the cause of a lot of headaches and migraines, especially when they don't resolve to other methods to reduce those symptoms. Particularly the eyes, also being a very largely fluid-based organ. As that backup continues and it gets around or into the eye lymphatic vessels or around the eye, that a lot of times relates to the eye issues, the auras, the blurry vision, the loss or changes of vision that often accompany migraines. The other common symptom that accompanies migraines is vomiting, which makes sense because vomiting is your number one emergency escape route detox pathway. If the toxin levels in your body for any reason reaches a type of kind of like critical mass level, or a critical like intensity of toxicity, and your other more normalized detox pathways like your pee, your poop, your sweat, if those are either too slow or they're backed up and your body really needs to get something out, what are you gonna do? How's it gonna go? It's gonna go out that way. So people who experience migraines can also experience vomiting, and it can be because that can be a way to quickly eliminate fluid, quickly eliminate toxic fluid. So there you have it in a pretty concise, because I could talk about this forever, connection between headaches, migraines, and liver function. What are some other symptoms? I've got a couple more for you guys. Fatigue. General fatigue, brain fog, the brain feeling tired, but also the body feeling generally fatigued. And that can be for two reasons. One, in the presence of liver dysfunction, in that backup, like the backup plumbing scenario or example that we just gave with the headaches and migraines. The backup can also cause some of that waste fluid to get transitioned into or get transferred into your blood, into your circulatory system. And then as that blood that has a little bit of excess waste lymph fluid in it gets circulated through your tissues, your organs, your other body systems, it causes those systems not to function optimally. It can cause those symptoms to slow down in their function, and that slowing down, sluggish performance can also be felt in your body as fatigue. The other way that fatigue can be attributed to liver function is that when the body, which this concept I think is amazing, when the body detects a certain number or a certain amount of waste in our body's fluids, in our blood and in our lymphatic fluid circulating through, one of the ways that it tries to reduce that waste from spreading is to actually manipulate fluid and blood flow. It does this mostly by manipulating blood pressure or heart rate. It'll slow down heart rate. It can slow down blood pressure and like raise heart rate a little bit because it wants to make sure that you get blood where it needs to go, but not as much as it normally would because this blood or this fluid is a little toxic. It manipulates flow. And as the body manipulates flow in an effort to reduce waste being transferred further than it needs to be, it also reduces whatever nutrients, clean fluid is in the blood that your organs and the rest of your body needs. So again, that lack of delivery of what the rest of your body needs reduces function and can come across as a feeling of fatigue, of sluggishness, slowing down. So there's fatigue. Food clues. That's my third symptom. Food clues is a general category of how your body prefers or your personal preferences, your likes and dislikes for certain foods can indicate certain functions, things going right, things going not so right in our body. So I've just coined the term food clue. Certain food clues or certain food clue symptoms that are associated with liver function, there are lots, but I'm going to cover some heavy hitters. One is not liking steak or salmon, particularly people who avoid steak or salmon often say like it's a texture thing, like they don't like it, like when they chew it, they just don't like it. That can actually be a sign of difficulty within the liver to break down proteins and manage protein wastes. So in a general sense, like I said, the body's remarkable in how it tries to keep us safe, keep us healthy, keep us functioning as optimally as possible. The body will not, or will try to give as many signs and symptoms as possible to avoid things that are harmful to it or things that it can't handle. So if your body, particularly in this case, if your liver has a hard time breaking down proteins, managing proteins as it normally should, or eliminating proteins. Those are all jobs of the liver. If the liver is struggling with any of those, your body may throw a sensory sign or some type of sign up that says, don't give me more of what I can't handle right now, which is going to come across as avoiding things that are high in proteins. So again, steak, salmon, soy. Side note, gluten is actually protein-based. It's a protein-based compound, and so are a lot of dairy products. Dairy products are high in certain proteins, so avoiding those or sensitivities to gluten and dairy can often be rooted in a liver issue with managing how the body or how the liver is able to handle proteins. Other common food clues associated with liver function, the fun one is always cilantro. Poor cilantro. Sometimes it gets a bad rap because people either like love it or it's like they hate it. I find very few people like in the middle that are like, it's okay. People are either like, I love it or I can't handle it. The people who can't handle it or avoid it sometimes will say that it tastes kind of soapy. So the connection between cilantro and liver function is that one of the liver functions involves, it's a sub-phase of detoxification. So detox, how your body, how the liver manages waste and eliminates waste, it has lots of different sub-phases. So one of the sub-phases of liver detox happens to deal with managing metals, metallic components, and there are compounds in liver that are not directly metallic, but have similar like chemical compound makeup to metals. So sometimes people who have high toxic levels of metals in their liver or in their body, again, the body's going to throw a sign, don't give me more of something or something that is similar to what I cannot handle, break down, eliminate already. There's too much of it in here, don't give me more. That can come across as avoiding cilantro. Hard-boiled eggs is another one. The yolk of hard-boiled eggs has a relatively higher sulfur content. And sulfur and use of sulfur or managing sulfur is involved in one of the subphases of liver detoxification. So again, if your body or if your liver is struggling with that subphase and sulfur is involved, your body's going to say, don't give me more sulfur things. I'm having a hard time over here trying to handle this sulfur issue already. Hard-boiled egg yolks, protein. So that can point to, again, a difficulty with managing protein. So like I said, there's lots of different food clues. Side note, so many that I wrote a book about it. It's called Food Clues. So there are key foods. And I guess the take-home message, aside from the specific examples, is that if there's a particular food or drink that you know doesn't quite agree with you, or you don't like it, you avoid it, even if you don't know the reason why, there probably is an internal reason why. And given the sheer number of functions that the liver does for the body, I'm gonna bet probably it's related to liver function. But even if it isn't, side note, don't discount the foods that you really have an aversion towards or a dislike for. It's probably for a reason, and it could be explored to help you overcome any other issues that you might be experiencing. The last symptom that I wanted to present that is connected to liver function is menstrual and slash perimenopausal, menopausal symptoms. All of those ultimately have hormones in common. And if you listen to my previous episode about the signs of liver dysfunction, I actually talked about hormone imbalance as a reading, as, you know, test results and stuff like that. So the matching symptom that goes with that would be your menopausal, your perimenopausal, your menstrual symptoms, your cramps, your heavy bleeding, your hot flashes, your food cravings, all of those types of things usually all funnel down to challenges with managing different hormones. And there are lots of different hormones that your liver plays a role in either creating, transporting, breaking down when needed. As a quick recap, your liver helps to convert or helps to produce your active thyroid hormone, T3. So if there's an issue with that, there can be menstrual related symptoms. We already talked about, even though this technically isn't a hormone issue, we already talked about the liver's role to manage proteins, break down proteins, and eliminate protein wastes. Proteins break down into amino acids or acid-like compounds, and it's your liver's job to break down those acids further so that they can be properly eliminated. Sometimes the heavy bleeding and menstrual cramping has to do with too much acid built up in that area because it can't be properly broken down by the liver. So that's another symptom linking to liver function. Let's see, all the symptoms surrounding estrogen imbalance, especially elevated estrogen levels, can be linked to liver function in that there's a specific subphase of detoxification in the liver that requires or that is needed for estrogens to be properly eliminated. Estrogens need to be broken down in a specific way, in a specific form before they can be eliminated from the body. And if that's not happening through that specific subphase in the liver, then again, excess hormones, excess estrogens can be kind of floating around in the body, in the system, until they are eliminated effectively. And that elevated level of estrogens hanging around in the body in the process can cause some of those symptoms, like the hot flashes and stuff, some of those symptoms that are associated with your menstrual and menopausal experiences. So there you have it, guys. Some heavy hitters that I personally, I guess I would call them heavy hitters because, like I said, a lot of my clients have these symptoms and they don't always know that they relate to liver function. So then when we address the liver, like the symptoms resolve or at least like dramatically reduce. So I hope this was helpful to you guys as well. As always, continue to tune in for more happy, healthy, helpful tips to keep you feeling and performing your best every day. You know where to find me on this channel. on all of my social media. You can always find a link to contact me if you have any questions or anything. But for right now, I'll go ahead and leave you my direct email. It's just dralexissams@gmail.com, all one word. It's in our podcast show notes. It's on our YouTube channel. It's on all of our social media. So you know how to get a hold of me. If you ever have any questions, any concerns, if you want me to cover any topics, if you've got any burning questions, send me what you want to know. I'll do an episode about it. I'll get it knocked out. All right, guys, stay happy and healthy, and I'll talk to you again soon.